Cindy Coburn and Carol Norman. There's the handshake before the title match. $40,000. Well, those two young lady professional bowlers are making history right now, Virginia Norton.
They certainly are. Prior to this, the one thing that Carol Norman wanted to think about was just going out and making good shots. I wonder if she's still able to do that.
Virginia didn't look like she hit that shot at all. Looked like she almost lost it on the way down.
It sure did. I don't know if that's a matter of coming back out and starting a new match where she wasn't quite settled or what was happening there, but she did not look the same as she did in the last match.
You know, I think bowling for the title obviously changes your approach, doesn't it, a little bit?
Well, you would hope it doesn't, but it certainly has to have a little bit of an effect.
Yeah, the important thing now is to cover up the spare in the opening frame. Well, it wasn't exactly the way you would have shot it, but what the heck, it's a spare. What great tradition for the Coburn family. And we talked to Cindy earlier today and asked her thoughts about bowling for a historic $40,000.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. In '75, my mom was the winner of the first time the largest prize fund. Then again in '81, I was in the same position. I won $25,000 when that was the record-breaking prize money. Now here I am again in '87, bowling for the U.S. Open Championship and the largest prize fund, and hopefully the pattern will continue.
And she walked out in the opening frame and struck just like she was throwing practice balls.
Tripped the 4-pin, and Cindy looks as loose as she could be. Under the circumstances, if you look at her face, she may look a little bit tense, a little bit thoughtful, but as far as her overall basic approach, it looks like Cindy Coburn all week long.
Very methodical, very businesslike, very effective.
A little wide. But there again, that's what's happened on this left-hand lane. Earlier, that ball would not have made it back. It's able to now.
Well, if you're the top seed, you'd like to get out of the gate in a hurry and throw a double, and that's exactly what Cindy accomplished.
That's right. Cindy, little basic 4-step approach, goes all the way through it. What an excellent follow-through. Higher backswing than Carol Norman. But all of these girls have their own little idiosyncrasies. They all get the job done.
Well, there you see the graphic. 2-0 this week against the top seed. And a very solid strike on lane 36. Both players, I think, are in a position they're going to make a run for this title.
They are, and Carol Norman this time not using the big loft, the ball coming off her hand earlier than it did in the previous match on those couple of shots that she really got down the lane. This one sets up in the pocket beautifully.
Would you say that perhaps Carol's biggest asset would be ball speed? Maybe Virginia, she's a little better at throwing it hard and soft?
Not necessarily. I think Carol, one of the things that's so good about Carol is she's compact, she goes up, and she just doesn't try and overpower anything. She gets a lot of good ball speed, but she doesn't look like she's overpowering it. And what a great shot. We saw a critical solid 8 by Lisa Wagner in the 6th frame of the last match. This one early in the match, same shot, 5-pin straight back, nothing touches the 8.
Is the ball supposed to touch the 8?
No, the ball should be touching the 5, and the 1, 3, 5, and 9. The 5-pin should be going into the 8, so that was actually too strong. The ball should deflect a little bit.
That's great, isn't it? I mean, you throw the ball too good at sometimes. It's a tough enough game, Virginia. Why in the heck would you have to leave those solid 8s and 9s?
That's part of the game. That's just the luck of the sport.
Gee, many Christmas, or the rub of the green, as they say.
That's right.
Boy, oh boy, what a great shot that was. Well, Cindy Coburn has started with a double. I would like to make it a 3-bagger here.
And you can see the concentration on her face. Those eyes won't move all the way to the foul line. Excellent concentration. She eased up a little bit as she went through the shot. That one's going to cost her, and unless she has some miracle happen here, she's going to hand the lead right back to Carol Norman. Key position right now, she wants to get one of these because otherwise she's losing an extra 2 pins in count.
Well, a very tough break. 4-pin kicked out. The 7 might have gone with it, but it didn't. So a 7-10 split. sets off the opening double. So right now it's a 4-pin lead for Carol Norman, who sat on the bench and took the lead, and that's always a nice position to be in.
Well, certainly, especially after you've left a solid 8, to not catch up and to have that kind of thing come back. She's got to be thinking, okay, maybe things are going to even out in my favor. I'm sure that the lady that's up right now, Cindy Coburn, isn't thinking about the shot she just made. She's going to go out and make a good shot. It would not surprise me at all to see her strike.
And for the first time this afternoon, we've had a re-rack on the left-hand lane. Cindy Coburn obviously not enamored with the way the pins were set. So an excellent shot and a ringing 10, so the re-rack didn't seem to help matters any.
Well, or she may have left company with the 10-pin if she hadn't re-racked, but that was an excellent shot. Very strong in the pocket. She got the ball to break at a beautiful angle into the pocket. And watch the 6-pin wrap around the 10.
Cindy Coburn averaging 214.3 for the week, has 11 career titles. And if there's anybody that bowls well under pressure, it's this young lady from North Tonawanda, New York. There you see Andy Johnson representing Seagram's Wine Coolers, and also, of course, Sonny Franz, the president of the BPAA. Boy, what a relationship those two major companies have established here over the last year or so.
Yes, and we can look forward to their involvement for the next few years, at least the next 2 years, and we are extremely pleased about that. Carol Norman, great shot in the 4th frame, so maybe that open by Cindy Coburn, really the thing that Carol needed to charge her up. She's been throwing the ball very, very well. Here you get to see another absolutely beautiful shot. Carol's getting the ball out over the line much more than Cindy and much more than the rest of the players have been, but it's working.
You know, we talked about that. In essence, we've got a couple of players who have thrown it fairly straight, a couple who hook it a little bit, and then one player in between. So they're approaching the pocket from all different angles here this afternoon, and Carol Norman right now has, I guess, the ideal shot.
Well, it looks like it so far, but, you know, this is the match. And so nerves are going to have to play some part in that. Now, we're talking about somebody in between. Carol Norman has left the 2-5 and the bucket now on this left-hand lane. Cindy Coburn threw it a little wide, and because she hooks it a little bit more than Carol does, Cindy was able to carry a strike coming around behind the head pin a little more.
Boy, there's nothing like having to shoot the bucket when you're bowling for a major title.
There's nothing like having to shoot the bucket, period.
Gives it plenty of room. Don't close down too fast. Oh. Whew. I don't know about you, but I've already moved to the edge of my chair. This one's worth $40,000, Virginia. That's a lot of money.
Well, and the girl that finishes second is going to pick up $20,000. Cindy already knows what that feels like to pick up a check that big. Carol doesn't.
And in essence, would you say that the player who wins would have a leg up on Player of the Year honors, perhaps in '87?
Without a doubt. Not only the $40,000 first prize, but being the U.S. Open champion. Cindy a little out of time. She's closing her shoulder a little too soon and pulling the ball left. Leaves the 3-6 here in the 5th frame. Now she trails by 6 pins. And this, not necessarily a tough spare, but spares this week, we've already gone over that, have not been easy.
Cindy with an outstanding television record. Used that harder surface blue ball all week long to shoot spares, and as I talked to her before the telecast today, she said, Danny, I don't think I'm going to use the strike ball I used all week long. There's another one I have that's getting a little better reaction, so I don't think she is bowling with the ball she used for 56 games either, and that's got to be a little difficult.
Well, not necessarily. Most of your equipment is going to feel fairly similar, and if you can go out there and say, hey, I've got a ball I've got a lot more confidence in, hey, go for it.
Yeah, but in my mind, you'd have confidence in the ball that got you through the 56 games, wouldn't you?
Except for the fact she said she used about 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Gives this one a little room and doesn't quite get back and leaves the 2-8.
Cindy skidded that one a little bit more down the lane before it started to make the move back, and as a result, she's got the 2-8. Another difficult spare. Cindy picks up her strike ball this time to shoot the spare. She's decided she wants the ball that's going to hook a little bit more to try and pick up that double wood.
Cindy Coburn's highest all-time finish in the U.S. Open, 6th. Obviously, she's better at that mark heading into this one today.
Significantly. Good shot. So Carol Norman now getting up in the 6th frame.
Leading by 8 pins.
8-pin lead. Looks like she was working on the tape in her thumb hole a little bit. I don't think she adjusted it, maybe just moved it around a little.
She's got her eyes closed, obviously visualizing the one key that she wants to work on.
Well, I think it goes back to the situation. She's putting herself in a certain frame of mind and blocking everything out but her concentration on her target. Good shot. And here is where the 10-pin stands, the 7-pin stands.
Now, let me ask you about that. Why all of a sudden, when the pressure is on, do you start to leave those half-10s and half-7s? Is it because you may be squeezing that ball a little bit?
Just a little bit, and, you know, the pins are going to react to that because you don't get quite the same rotation. You may get 1 revolution less, you may get half a revolution less, and that's going to make all the difference in the world in carrying out those corners. Good shot on the spin.
A 7-pin lead for Carol Norman through 6 frames, so we're better than halfway home.
Carol looks like she made some really excellent shots early. She left that solid 8, or she could, at this point, be up by 20 pins. But she's starting to look a little bit more careful, and I think what's going to happen is if she's going to win this title, she's going to have to open up and be as loose as she was in the semifinal match against Lisa.
Which brings me to another question, and I'll wait until after this shot.
Good shot.
Good reaction, you know, as soon as she let it go. At this point, Virginia, now do you become more aggressive or more conservative if you're in the lead a little bit?
You can never become conservative in this sport. This is a sport where you have to play offense. Here, Carol's reaction, get up there. A little bit light, but she carries.
Well, I guess there's no defense in bowling, only offense, huh?
No, because the minute you start playing defense in bowling, you make spares that are very difficult to convert.
Cindy Coburn, she needs to answer the riddle of lane 36, and she does. That was by far and away her best shot, do you think, on the right-hand lane?
Well, she made an excellent shot early in the match, and then she got a little bit lost, but I think it was her more than the lane. Here she goes all the way through the shot, and she definitely is playing a little deeper on the lane than Carol Norman is.
The Coburn family, obviously Mother Doris with several national titles. Her sister Kathy won a national tournament, and obviously Cindy has won 11 of her own. It's the only family in the United States where mom and both daughters have national championships. That's amazing.
Well, it was really funny. I can remember talking to Doris about 10 or 12 years ago, and she and Cindy's sister Kathy were both out on tour, and they were talking about the younger daughter was far and away a better bowler. I guess she's proving that. Oof. The 2-7-8.
And the 10-pin nearly stood up.
She's in a real predicament now. She knows she has to make this spare. Not an easy one by far. However, she looks like she tried to play this lane a little bit more similar to the way she played 36, tried to go through it the same. And that's not a good shot on this lane.
And she's got her hands full now with a 2-8-7. Saw Cheryl Daniels convert this in the opening match.
Good
Come
shot.
on, how about a little help? And there it is. That is about as good a pressure shot, Virginia Norton, as you're going to find in this situation.
It certainly is, and I'll tell you what, here we're going to see get a chance to see it again. You have to send the 2 into the 7, and she barely gets it, but barely is enough here. 7 pins separating these two ladies. Carol Norman right now in a position where if she can strike, she can start to open up a lead, so she has got to start being aggressive again. Better shot. Not to be.
Same half-10.
Same half-10, but that one was not a careful shot like the one she threw back in the 6th frame.
Excellent crowds all week long, and they reacted to the ladies, but I don't want to use an old cliche, but I guess I would. You could hear a pin drop in here right now, even if it would be a 3.6-pound weight pin, right?
That's right.
I know one thing. Carol Norman was hoping to Listen to the 10-pin drop on that last shot, but she'll take the spare if she can get it.
She pulled it a little bit. She was able to go a little harder with the shot.
Still a 7-pin lead, both players with spares in the 8th frame. And there you see the gaze of a true competitor. I kidded her a little this week. I said, "Oh, you're from Oklahoma. Have you ever met Brian Bosworth?" She said, "Oh, yeah, he coaches me all the time." What a great sense of humor.
Carol really does have a nice sense of humor. Right now, the only thing going through her mind is how big these next 2 frames are. By far the biggest 2 frames that Carol Norman has ever had in her career.
Now, the toughest thing for her is she'll have to finish the match in the 10th. This, of course, in the 9th frame. Would love a foundation strike if she could get it.
And she threw that one great. Rips the 5 out.
Well, a possible 219 if Carol Norman would strike out in the 10th.
And just watch the power of this ball hit the pins. Half hit, the 5 goes into the 4-7, setting up a situation where she cannot be locked out in this match.
First order of business now for Cindy Coburn is to strike on the right-hand lane.
Good
this
shot.
is for all the marbles. Oh, my goodness. Solid 10, and now the pressure is really on.
Certainly is. She threw a very, very good shot. The ball broke a little late, but there again, you're going to watch the 6 wrap around the 10. Very nice shot.
Well, the key now is to make the spare and strike out and at least force Carol Norman to make at least the first strike in the 10th.
That's right.
Got to take them one at a time, though. There's the spare. The in the 9th. Now Cindy Coburn, really, the tournament comes down. Virginia Norton to trying to strike out here in the 10th frame. If she doesn't, it's all over.
That's right. Well, you can't say it's all over. At that point, Carol Norman would still need to mark if Cindy can fill up this 10th frame. And under the circumstances, I think that mark, the ball might get a little bit heavy.
I have a feeling you might be right.
She cannot get that 7 to trip out of there.
Well, 190 the possible now. And Carol Norman currently operating in a 199 clip.
Cindy needing to make this spare and not let Carol off the hook the way Lisa did with a bad count.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
It's
oh,
all over.
That's it. Well, 179, a tragic end to Cindy Coburn's week. And really, at this point in time, Carol just needs to stay behind the line. And right now, she's about as excited as she'll ever be at this point.
I think Carol is probably trying to fight back some tears at this point. I've got one framed bowl. Good shot. Great shot.
And that'll do it.
Look at the smile on her face. What a tremendous champion. And there are the tears that she was trying to fight back.
Carol Norman out of Ardmore, Oklahoma, with her first major championship. And she'll always remember about the strike she threw to really lock things up.
That's right. Carol Norman, I don't know if she's even going to be able to see her target. I don't think Carol
doesn't make any difference. Carol Norman at this point, the most exciting woman professional bowler in the United States, because she has captured the Seagram's Cooler U.S. Open. And we'll be back to talk with Carol right after these messages. The final score for Carol Norman, 206-179, the Seagram's Cooler U.S. Open champion. How about a round of applause from you folks here? That was an unbelievable finish. There are tears in your eyes. And what's it feel like to win the Open?
I'm at a loss for words right now. I never dreamed that I would get this far. I started out in 56th place at the first round of qualifying, and my only hope was just to cash. I got a little cash, I'm afraid.
Well, now that you're speaking about high finances, let me bring over Andy Johnson here representing the Seagram's Wine Cooler Company, and he has a nice check here on hand for you.
Congratulations, Carol. On behalf of Seagram's Coolers and I'm happy to present to you this check for $40,000 for winning the Seagram's Cooler U.S. Open. Congratulations.
Not bad, huh? $40,000. You could give her the check, Andy. Sonny France, why don't you come on in here now? Get over to my left here, if you would. Come on in very quickly. Sonny France, the president of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America. Why don't you present that beautiful trophy?
Carol, congratulations. It's a pleasure on behalf of the proprietors of the 4,000 member centers and the 100,000 employees at those centers to present you with this beautiful crystal trophy, symbolic of your victory. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Sonny.
Do you have anything to say about that beautiful crystal?
Oh, it's gorgeous. It'll go great in my trophy case.
Sonny, do me a favor and hang on to that, because I think if you give it to her right now, she might drop it. But she didn't drop any bowling balls because she bowled just terrific here today. The U.S. Open champion here from Mentor, Ohio. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.